Just didn't make
You
sense.
might be talking about Mjolnir the Hammer. I'm talking about Mjolnir armor of Master Chief in Halo, everybody. How good of a segue was that?
That was a great segue.
Thanks. Thanks, Dad. I don't know why I say that every time.
Just the Halo thing.
Yeah. No, I want to talk about this.
Let's do this.
I think it's an interesting topic. So, as you know, I'm the gamer of the two of us. I like Halo a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually really excited for the show. But the show's already kind of had some roadblocks.
Yeah.
One, I think it looks great. And then I found out the reason it looks great, because I think it says there was 8 episodes. So this show cost $80 million. It was $10 million an episode to film this show, which explain. And there's a really good.
Where the fuck did they get the money? I mean,
well, it's Paramount.
I guess. Jesus,
dude, it's fucking Paramount and Microsoft, the two of the bigger companies in the world. They're not going to find the money for that. Come on,
10 million. Jesus Christ.
That's also why they went to Viacom, because they're like Paramount and Viacom, because they're like, the only way we could film this is if you throw all this money at it. But yeah, there's a really good Variety article that I pulled these quotes from that talks about this, because Halo, they've been trying to make an adaptation of Halo since 2005.
Probably since it came out.
They had Peter Jackson involved. They've had Neil Blomkamp, District 9, Chappie. They had him involved. Spielberg's involved. He's been involved for quite some time trying to get this going. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, this has been in development since 2005, which is not uncommon, because we just a couple weeks ago, Netflix announced that they're doing a BioShock adaptation, and that's another. No, Jesus, why?
No, I'm saying we were talking about this off the air about how the glut of video game adaptations.
Well, but that's what I mean. But BioShock is another property that's been in development forever.
I've heard of that too.
Since the game came out in 2007. So like, this has been a long trip to get to where we are, and I think it only makes sense that Halo comes out next. It comes out next week. It makes sense that it happens now, because we live in the era that we do of all these streaming services and all these properties. And you're right. And it could be Castlevania's success on Netflix. It could be Sonic winning big at the box office when it came out. But yeah, there seems to be another wave of video game movies. And this show has already had some issues because, again, while it looks great, we find out that it's not canon, so it's in its own timeline. It's not the game's timeline.
So why do you need to call it Halo?
Because it's still Halo,
I guess.
but it's their version of Halo.
Sure.
Why not? As long as it gets us.
It's still Tyler. It's just our version of Tyler.
Well, I think that they're trying to adapt it because you can't tell the game's story.
It is very hard to tell. Whoa.
Something fell. But it's
yeah, what was that noise?
It was the mouse. It fell off.
Oh. No, but it's true. You can't really adapt especially open world video games. I mean, how do you adapt that? Yeah. You know?
And also I like it because I understand where you're coming from, where a lot of people will be like, well, what's the point if you're going to make your own canon and you're not going to follow those? But I think for me, I'm again someone who's easier to please in terms of properties, where I don't mind adaptation. So I don't mind that they're gonna okay, we're gonna do this differently, because if I wanted that, then I'd just play the game.
Well, you're the exact same. What you're saying is the exact same thing I say about Daredevil with Ben Affleck and Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
It's just something different. It's a different approach.
They're shit.
Yeah,
but it was cool because I'm that adapted properties that I care about.
Yeah.
And the thing is, kind of going along with those lines, that TV show, Lethal Weapon, that was on for 2 seasons or whatever. Honestly, I would have been a lot better. I liked the show. It was a good show. It was a good storyline, good acting, whatever. But
just watch the movie.
But no, why couldn't they just make it something original? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think somebody was like, "Hey, this is a great story about a white cop and a black cop," and somebody was like, "That's Lethal Weapon," and they're like, "Yep, Lethal Weapon," and then that was it.
Yeah.
So whatever it was originally called. So I get what you're saying. Yeah. I totally get it.
So and that's why I'm interested in how they're going to do The Last of Us on HBO, another video game adaptation.
Come on.
What? Then don't watch it.
I'm not gonna.
I'm worried about that because
Look at me. I'm not gonna.
but that game is so cinematic that, and they said they're going to be very close to it. I was like, well, then I'll just play the game, or I'll watch, or I'll go on YouTube and watch the dudes.
Right, if you're gonna adapt the game like faithfully, why
bother?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I mean. I'd go on YouTube, and there's tons of YouTube channels that have the cutscenes all edited together to look like one cohesive thing. Might as well just watch that or play the game. So another reason they're in hot water this past week, the showrunners said this about the show, quote, "We didn't look at the game. We didn't talk about the game. We talked about the characters and the world, so I never felt limited by it being a game." And then a reason why Halo is on Paramount Plus, quoted from the Tanya Giles, Chief Programming Officer at Paramount Plus, she said, "Halo is a swing for a broad audience. My hope is this expands what the Paramount Plus brand can mean." Two things. One, that's fine.
But don't say it out loud.
Don't say it out. Say
idiot.
that when they talk about the game. Don't say that we didn't. Because I know what he's trying to say. I do. He's trying to say that we wanted to tell a story, but focus on the characters and not feel limited. Because look, say what you will about Uncharted, it's not a good movie. I've seen it. It's whatever.
Actually,
but
that's what they were doing.
The director of that movie said that we didn't want to retread the things from the game. We wanted to keep it in the game, but we wanted to do something that they hadn't done before. Okay, fine. Then don't make it about that. Don't make it Uncharted.
Yes.
So, but what I think what they're trying to do with this Halo is we're going to do a little bit different approach. We're going to do an approach with a Master Chief that isn't so by the numbers, and he's still driven, but there's going to be more emotion. There's going to be more humanity to John 117 than there has been in the games, and I think that's fine. And I think that they're going to do, but you cannot say that out loud. You can say we didn't. I think a better way to say that would be we appreciated what they did in the games and the stories they could tell in the games, but we wanted to focus on the characters more that they didn't necessarily deliver in the game. Something like that. Mm-hmm. But it also doesn't help that you had the guy.
We didn't want to just straight up adapt the game. We wanted to take the game as inspiration and adapt a story that it was inspired by the game. That's how you say that.
Yes.
You idiot.
And
hey,
but based on what I've seen,
are a lot of people pissed off about her saying that?
What?
Are a lot of fans of Halo pissed off that she said that? That they didn't look at the game? I'm guessing that they are.
Yeah, they're very mad.
Wow.
It's a heat, by the way.
I'm gonna go buy some. I thought you said her name was Tanya.
Well, that was the Paramount Plus executive.
Oh, well, whatever.
I put her quote in there to be like, this is a swing for a broad audience, where it's like, okay, fine, but maybe either accept one of these things could be true, or both of these things could be true. And the thing is, not everybody that plays Halo gives a shit about TV, and not everybody that watches TV will give a fuck about Halo. I think that Master Chief is a character that is iconic because he's so ingrained in pop culture now. Just his armor is in particular, you see that, you know what that is, right? But why bother making it for a broad audience when there's so many people that play video games out there that would watch this because they're like, I love Halo. I'll be honest, I don't really care that much about lore. When I play Halo, I play it for Team Deathmatch and Slayer or whatever, And
I don't play it at all.
I play it with my friends. I don't play it for the lore. And so I'm a little bit different than other people. And there's people that read the books and the comics and shit, and I'm glad you do that.
There's comics?
Oh, yeah. Halo's a multimedia property.
Oh, fuck's sake.
But what?
I just had a yawn.
Oh, I thought you were mad that they have comics. I'm like, are you mad about Star Wars comics? No, but to put a bow on this, I think that people are right to be upset about that because that is a horribly phrased thing. And I thought it was taking him out of context. I looked at it isn't. It isn't. So I just think, maybe have some better PR. And
maybe don't let him talk anymore.
But he does say that he consulted with writers from 343, so they helped with the show. So, and it still feels like Halo. So if it still feels like Halo and we have some,
knock yourself out.
It's awesome. I'm cool with it. It doesn't have to be a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't really remember that much about the story of Halo anyway. But regardless, I'm excited to watch Halo when it comes out.
You're excited. Feel these nipples.
Exactly. If you are a Xbox Game Pass Ultimate member,
yeah,
you can get Paramount Plus free for 30 days to watch the show. So there you go.
That's pretty neat.